Russia collusion probe in Washington, this one involving Hillary Clinton. The House Intelligence and Oversight Committee is launching an investigation today into a uranium deal struck with Russia while Clinton was Secretary of State. Here's Republican Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes.
What we're here today to announce is an inquiry into Russia's involvement into the uranium deal that was done several years ago. This is just the beginning of this probe. We're not going to jump to any conclusions at this time, but one of the things, as you know, that we're concerned about is whether or not there was an FBI investigation. Was there a DOJ investigation? And if so, why was Congress not informed of this matter?
And another probe launched today into the Obama Justice Department's handling of the Clinton email investigation. More on that in a moment. But first, Hillary Clinton is fighting back against allegations she colluded with the Russians while Secretary of State. She's, of course, blaming Republicans and Fox News for the focus on the questionable uranium deal with Moscow.
It's the same baloney they've been peddling for years, and there's been no credible evidence by anyone. In fact, it's been debunked repeatedly and will continue to be debunked. But here's what they're doing, and really, I have to give them credit. You know, Trump and his allies, including Fox News, are really experts at distraction and diversion. So the closer the investigation about real Russian ties between Trump associates and real Russians, as we heard Jeff Sessions finally admit to in his testimony the other day, the more they want to just throw mud on the wall, and I'm their favorite target, me and, you know, President Obama. We're the ones that they always like to put into the crosshairs. Okay,
so famous sleight of hand by Hillary is that the scandal has already been debunked, and it's just a conspiracy theory. That's what happened with Lewinsky, Benghazi, the foundation pay for play. Do you think that defense, Gutfeld, will work this time?
I don't know. I would say a distraction would be like bombing a country to divert from a sex scandal. That would be a
I forget.
I don't know, but I go back to the most obvious point is how do you buy uranium? We are obsessed with buying drugs on the dark net or guns from private dealers. And the story is about buying uranium. I mean, are we going to have a new William Devane commercial? Like, now's never been a better time to buy uranium. What's in your nuke? It makes no sense to me that's not the big question. The next question is, will the networks cover this investigation with the sweaty exuberance that they covered with the collusion? Because this really is a bias exposure flashlight. It will expose your team sport. Like, if you like Hillary, you won't do this, and you hate Trump, you'll do that. So it'll be interesting. I say investigate everything because it gives us more segments.
That's right, and we've had plenty of Hillary segments, as you guys have known. Yeah. This time, I'm going to use a sports analogy for you, Ms. Perino.
Thanks for the warning.
The Clintons don't have a lot of blockers out in front of them. They're not in the White House. Obama's not in the White House. There's no Democrats controlling any of these investigative committees.
No Valerie Jarrett.
No Jarrett. They only have the media. Do you think the media is going to be enough to stop these investigations?
Well, no, the investigations are going to go forward because once they start something and they start an inquiry, it will happen. I do wonder, at some point, is her book tour going to end? That is the thing that I think that most Democrats would think. We're in the 7th week of a book tour. The interview that she did was with C-SPAN Book TV. Great book. She's making a lot of money off of it. But every single day, the reason we have segments about this is because she keeps talking.
It's true.
If she hadn't talked, then we probably wouldn't have maybe put this down in the E-block. But I also think that just to a refresher on this, the way that you sell uranium, that's actually a very good point. But it has to go through this thing called CFIUS, which is the Committee for Foreign Investment in the United States. And it's all sorts of cabinet agencies have to approve this. So it's not just like the State Department signs off. It's Commerce, Treasury, Energy Department, others. And
you have to put down a deposit, don't you? It's like getting one of those big vacuum cleaners at the supermarket.
I guess it is possible.
Yes.
That the CFIUS committee did not know about the FBI investigation. That might be one of their excuses.
On the committee was Eric Holder, and his Justice Department had to have been aware of the FBI investigation,
right.
you think.
You could imagine, though, that they might say, oh, well, we didn't know it didn't work its way up to the top. I don't know. That would be a pretty lame excuse, but it might be the one they come up with.
That's right. We were joking before the show, Kimberly, this might not be the sexiest scandal. Uranium, Sisyphus. It just doesn't have the typical Clinton scandal ingredients.
You just made it sound like a communicable disease. So actually now it does have a whole other air to it.
Right. Do you think this will stick to Hillary, or do you think she's just going to get away with it like usual?
Well, she's already pivoting and trying to provide explanations, and she's out there. And also, she's a little bit of a sitting duck as she continues to try to promote her book and make appearances. So then she's open and ripe for these types of questions.
Yep.
And as the evidence continues to develop and proliferate, there will be more questions for her to answer in terms of what she knew when and what kind of collusion there was. So this actually already seems to have a lot more like meat to it than anything you had to do with Trump and with Russian collusion. So fair play. We want to look into this and about dealings with Russia. This is an appropriate investigation, especially like Dana said that it passed through CFIUS.
Sorry for butchering that.
To make sure what they knew. Did someone try and push it from there in the Treasury Department, et cetera, to say, let's put this deal through on, kind of like a bro deal, like, oh, scratch back. I would like to say no, that they're above, reproach and that type of thing and really operate independently. But you don't know. That's why you have these committee oversight hearings, so that we can actually get to the bottom of it and drill down to say, wait a second, who knew what? Was Hillary directly involved? Was a surrogate from her in a meaningful capacity in a relationship aware of this and tried to put it forward? Was this something that the Obama administration let go through, since, some people feel Hillary got the election taken away from her when she could have been the nominee with him with the Franklin commemorative plate? Who knows?
Juan, if I was asking Hillary a question, this is what I would say. Hillary, Russian oligarchs sent about $145 million to your foundation. Do you think that's because they wanted to help cure diseases in Africa? Or do you think that's because they wanted you to sign off on their uranium deal?
Well, it can't be the latter, because she wasn't Secretary of State when the overwhelming amount of the money was given to the foundation.
When was that, Juan?
So it was more than 18 months before she became Secretary of State.
Okay,
so the timing just doesn't work.
Okay, so they
greased
the foundation.
No, but I'm saying...
And then she becomes Secretary of State and signs off on it. That's usually how it works.
She doesn't have the power to sign off on it. She was one member of a 9-member commission whose name you keep screwing up. So that...
and we'll continue to do that.
I know, but so to me, the news here was that the Hill reported this week that, in fact, you had a number of people who were Russian mobster, billionaire types who suddenly wanted to influence the U.S. Energy industry and were making contributions and all. And so that was new, that we know, oh, gee, the Russians are involved here, because we knew about the money flowing in. It's more than $140 million that went to the Clinton Foundation. Peter Schweitzer reported this a long time ago. The New York Times has reported on it. It has been examined. Nothing has been found. And as I say, the timing is way off, Jesse. The problem is the timing of these donations.
Why do you think these Russians donated $145 million to the foundation? Juan?
Well, no, I think they're trying to buy influence, and they're trying to raise their stature here in the United States so that they can have political favors.
Oh, so they did it with her.
But they didn't do it in such a way that you could say, oh, we've got evidence now of a quid pro quo involving Hillary Clinton. What we've really got here is what Hillary Clinton said. Republicans who decide, you know what, it's time to distract, it's time to disrupt, it's time to divert from the investigations into, guess who, Donald Trump. And so suddenly this is the counteroffensive.
But does that make this less credible or less problematic? I don't think so at all. Whether you had an investigation into Trump and Russia collusion and what was going on at Trump Tower, doesn't matter. This on its own warrants an investigation. So I don't think to me, it doesn't matter if you say, well, this is the counter to that. Oh, because you did this to me, I'm going to do this to you.
Yeah.
Playground,
that's
payback.
what it looks like to me.
Well, do you say that this is a credible investigation? It's something that should be investigated if there's undue Russian
it has
influence.
been.
I think what you're getting at is that the media has been flipping out over Russia perhaps purchasing Facebook accounts.
$100,000 worth.
$100,000 worth of Facebook accounts, and suddenly Russia is inherently malicious. It's like in 2016, Russia is so evil that they purchased $100,000 in Facebook accounts, but maybe a couple years ago, around 2010, they were so wonderful and likable, and we thought they were so great, we sold them 20% of the uranium.
Right.
That's the story. The story is that they were okay back then, so we gave them something that will destroy the earth, but they're buying Facebook accounts. By the way,
that like 6 cases of vodka equivalent?
I have an idea, though.
Money?
I have an idea for Hillary, because I think that this is her next career. She should do a TV show called What Happened. And she just sits there and she explains everything. Like, so the uranium, what happened? And then she could do that. She could do the
You know what? And the conclusion of every show could show like a flow chart.
Yes.
It's right back to the Republicans and Fox
Exactly.
News.
Could be Monica, Travelgate, Whitewater, the debate scandal. It could be an entire series. What happened? 9 p.m. MSNBC.
They need a host there.